this is soiledplant and welcome back to my channel. This is my bird of paradise. It has seen better days. This one is basically leafless, but it's still alive. But it desperately needs a repot. Since this is the only stock, it is constantly wanting to just tip over. It is very temperamental, so I want to get this in a new pot. I want to make sure that the plant is upright and that this one hopefully has some good soil. And I want to see if I can get this one to come back from the dead. Now I am outside at my house. There is a house kind of a little bit down the street that is getting their gutters replaced. It is somewhat loud. This is just going to be too messy, so I want to make sure I did this outside instead of in the house. I want to give you a good look at what we're working with here. This is a kind of flexible 12-inch pot. The soil is on the dry side right now. It needs, to be watered, which is a good time to replant it. But generally speaking, there's a lot of gaps around the outside all the time. It does not look kind of nutrient dense anymore, and it's just kind of basic. I bought this from Costco a few years ago, and I've not changed the pot or soil. I've been fertilizing, of course, but it's just due for some new soil. And that way we can get this stalk to not be quite so crooked anymore, because it definitely has a lean going on. And it always wants to tip over, so I've had to lean this against the front window. So these are all the supplies I'm working with today. I just bought some standard Miracle-Gro potting mix. These plants aren't super finicky, so I just wanted to get something basic for them. I've got a little bit of cocoa husk that I bought a long time ago, and it just doesn't really work well for my house plants. So I'm going to see if it works well for this. It's a little stringy, and it's hard to break apart, but if it has bigger chunks, I think it would work well for a soil mixture like this. Just something to hopefully break it up with. I've got this tray. It's the same thing I use for every sort of repotting. It's where I put the old soil just so it doesn't get all over the place, and so it's easy to dispose of. And then I've got a bucket, just standard 5 gallon, 10 gallon, I can't remember, 5 gallon I think bucket, and that's where I'm going to try and mix this coir in, or not coir, the cocoa husk in with the potting soil. So I think I'm going to be doing this first, just kind of breaking off big sheets of this. You just kind of have to unravel it all together instead of piecemeal. So for all my indoor plants, I usually make my own soil just because I like having the right amount of aerating materials to moisture retaining materials. But when it comes to a plant like this, it's just a lot of soil and it's kind of expensive to make my mix, at least compared to just buying it from the store. The reason I'm adding aerating materials is because I always think that these are way too moisture retaining. For the plants that need a little bit more aeration, I just like to add this in. Now, with the bird of paradise, this is the only one I have. I had one before, but bugs got it and killed it. And this one of the plants died because it also got bugs and I didn't treat it quickly enough. This stuff isn't so bad. It's just most of the chunks are going to be like an inch by inch and then like half an inch, which is kind of a lot if you're doing something smaller than a 6-inch pot. That's really aerating, but I do think that something like this would work for some of these larger plants and larger pots, which was kind of what I was hoping for. So far I have about that much. It's not too bad. Volume wise, it's maybe like a quarter of the pot I'm filling, so I'm going to see if that is sufficient. Let's mix in some potting soil and see what it looks like. There's so many stringy bits to this that they do kind of clump into like little rat's nests or little tumbleweeds. So I kind of have to force them apart. So this is what the mixture looks like right now. It is very sparing with how much of that's in there. So I'm gonna probably put the rest of that block in here or close to it. So this is what it looks like now. It's still not ideal and it's still clumping together like a little rat's nest way too much. So I would recommend, avoiding this style just generally. This is one that I bought for reptile bedding and I thought it would work the same, and it does not. This is way more like, it does not spread as easily, which might be great for lizards and things, not so great for houseplants. All right, I'm gonna try to do this quickly because it is very warm outside. I'm very worried about my camera overheating. I'm gonna do the leafy stem first and kind of lay it down gently. The leaves, okay. Now, I'm going to put more hot. There we go. why I wanted to do this outside. It is a messy process. It's so solid. This might be a little rougher than I thought. It's just like so many roots. I thought this was all dirt, and this is all just a maze of roots. Let me show you. So this is the root ball, and this is all just teeny tiny roots, and then you got the bigger ones, and of course the ones that are more tuberous on the bottom. But I think the only way to get this soil out is going to be spraying it with water at fairly high pressure, because otherwise this is going to stay a root ball and it is not going to improve. I don't think me like jostling it is going to, like, that's how much dirt falls off when I start trying to get it out. So this might have to be hit with some high pressure water. So I'm gonna do that setup and I will be right back. So I've hooked up my water hose, got the plant, and we will see how this goes. Protecting the leaves by spinning it to get access to the backside here. Spin it again. Careful with the leaves. And I'm going to try and set it upright. I'm going to hit from above. So it may not look like I've gotten a lot of dirt out, but I definitely have. This is really solid. Part of me wants to keep going and see if I can, keep it going and take more of the dirt out. For anyone concerned, I do not plan to up-pot this because this massive roots is a lot smaller depth-wise than the entire pot. Some of the old roots still stuck in here from the plant that died, and it's clearly decaying. I shouldn't be able to rip them out like that. Just turning black and just not healthy roots anymore. And I wouldn't be afraid of accidentally pulling good roots. I wouldn't do it on purpose, but plants are resilient, so they're fairly forgiving. We should be close to done. I'm going to hit it one more time. So now I think we are ready to put this in the pot. I'm going to bring everything over here just so I don't have to move the plant again. And it's a little cooler for my camera over here, so it won't overheat. All right, so this is the pot. It is going straight back into the pot that it was in. This is the soil that I made, and here's the plant. I'm actually concerned I did not make enough soil, but if that's the case, I'll just put some more of that just potting mix straight on top without the aerating materials. So I'm going to mostly fill this with that potting soil. Alright, see how it clumps like that? I definitely would not recommend this in the future. Pick that up as much as I can. Of course, keep in mind that all of this is going to settle. So this stalk right here is the one with all the leaves on it. This one is kind of doing its own thing, so I'm going to focus on making sure this one is upright and secure, and that is going to be my priority. So I'm going to lean it quite a bit and maybe angle this one upright. I'm going to take some of this and just pack it behind just to give it some support. That. There's only a little bit of soil left. By some stroke of luck, I made just enough soil that I think I am good. Leaving it as is. I'm going to give this a nice shower, and I'm going to sit it in the shade outside and see how it does for probably a day or two, just to make sure that it's not going to tip over and I need to repot it. So from this point, I'm actually going to leave it outside. I might move it to a slightly different location, but this has a good amount of sun coverage from all the sides because this is an indoor plant. Bring it outside, it might be too jarring for them. I know this is not the most elegant area being right next to my recycle bin, but I want this to have something to lean against. I'm probably going to end up loosely tying it to this just so it doesn't tip over, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm not actually the most confident in how this turned out. Part of me wishes I had just ripped this off and made them two separate plants. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, because if I take the second plant off, I'm going to have to use a smaller pot. So I'm hoping this works, but I'm not feeling confident in my choice of execution. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. I post videos on Thursdays. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye!